creating balance in chaotic situations. Some people may say that's impossible. Chaotic situations are out of my control and I can't get to a sense of ease or balance. But here's the thing is number one, okay, tip number one, just going straight into it, is trust.
Boom, here we go.
Trust. It's super, super important to realize that, yes, chaos, discombobulation, freaky situations happen in this world. Our ability to find balance is an inside job. So it's to trust no matter what chaos is going on around me, I can come into my own space, my own energy bubble.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Well, hey, here we go with our deliciously motivated mindset conversation. Like, are we podcasting or are we conversating? We're doing a bit of both. Welcome. Hi, Moira.
Hello, my dear. I like that. Way hey. Here we go.
Way. Instead of the old hello. Well, today, and if you've listened to us before, you'll know we often say this because we do get a little bit excited with our topics. Today is a real goodie. And as I said to Moira, it's a goodie, and she said, yeah, it's a goodie. And she said, but of course, because of course, we think every podcast is a great title.
Well, we wouldn't do them otherwise.
I know.
That's a truth.
But we do laugh at, in our morning, we do laugh at what we've got to deal with today. And it's definitely creating balance in chaotic situations.
Yes.
So if you've been with us before, you know the next thing I'm going to say. And if you haven't been with us before, then listen more. Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome more. Yeah. So what we do is we do an emotional check-in with ourselves. And our emotional check-in is on our PEMS, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, just to see where you are on a scale of 0 to 10. We check in where you are now, we check in at halftime, and we check in at the end. And the purpose is to take you closer to the 0, closer to the one digit, all the way to the 0. And a 0 is, I'm starting with the 0 actually. The 0 is 0. Yeah.
0.
Is a beautiful, Zen is a beautiful place to be. It is a neutral place. It's not, there's no chaotic situation. It's totally your balance in your chaotic situation. But it's fully balanced, no thoughts for the future, no thoughts for the past, just sitting present and appreciating where you are in the present. Yeah. That's a 0. And that's where we would like to take you today. But that's up to you, everybody. We'll do our best. And then there's a 10, which is between the 9 and 11 for those who don't understand my accent. And a 10 is, oh, wow. That is a chaotic situation. That is brain frazzled, body frazzled. This is probably when you're kicking and screaming. And if you've got no energy to kick and scream, you're still sitting present, but you actually can't move, can't think. It's a different presence.
Yes, it's got a sense of stuckness, of I don't know what the hell to do here.
Yeah. Your Wellington boots are stuck in the mud, and you literally, as much as you want to run, you just can't.
Yes.
So that is a 10. And we check in, like I just said, where we are now. Moira and I tell you what we're at, and then our aim is to get us close to the 0. Now, the last couple have been very interesting because the last couple of podcasts we've done, I don't know if I've actually gone straight to the 0, if I can remember rightly. I don't know if I think I've just moved one, which is usually I'll move 2 or 3 to a 0. I'll go, oh yeah. Or I'll be going all the way through, and then there'll be one tip that Moira will give, and I'll go, oh yeah, that took me to a 0.
Yeah.
There has been a couple that's taken me further down towards a 10. Because then
like,
I go,
oh my God, I have to deal with that.
I haven't done that. I'm so not living by that way. So even just 1 can take you to the 0. But let's get us going. So Moira, what number are you today?
I'm at 1.5.
Ah, okay, perfect. And I'm actually a 2 because I don't really know where I am, but my breathing feels okay. I'm super excited or invigorated about today. Yeah. Good. And so I was like, well, maybe a 2. So there's no right or wrong. And here's me going, maybe a 2. I just want to really emphasize that there's no right or wrong. Like, you can't stuff up this number. You can change it at any time. That 2 can be moved to a 3 or a 1 or a 0. Like, don't beat yourself up for wherever you are. And if you're a 10, then 100% grab your pen and paper, note-taking device, computer, whatever, because I would like to think you're going to implement every single thing.
That would be the idea. That would be the idea.
100%. So we are kicking off creating balance in chaotic situations. I've explained what a 0 is, which is your balance, and then I've explained what a 10 is in your chaotic situation. So, Moira, what's your topic that we're hitting off with today? And these are not in any particular order, just for the people out there listening.
I think there's 2. I love this title, Creating Balance in Chaotic Situations. Some people may say that's impossible. Chaotic situations are out of my control and I can't get to a sense of ease or balance. But here's the thing is, number 1, tip number 1, just going straight into it, is trust.
Boom, here we go.
Trust. It's super, super important to realize that, yes, chaos, discombobulation, freaky situations happen in this world. But our ability to find balance is an inside job. So it's to trust, no matter what chaos is going on around me, I can come into my own space, my own energy bubble. I've got my hands over my heart as I'm saying this, because this is the quickest way to create balance, is to come into your heart space, not your head. Because oftentimes your head, and all of our mind chatter does this. Oh my God, look at this, and what about that? And oh, I forgot this, and this person's doing this and not doing that, and I'm supposed to be doing this and I'm not doing that. That can exacerbate that feeling of the chaos.
Yeah.
Whereas when we just come internal into our heart space, take a deep breath, that actually might just bring you down one step on that 0 to 10 scale, closer to the 0, and make you more resilient, more capable of saying, oh, okay, here's what I'm needing to do right now. Right? So tip number 1 is trust that you are always capable of creating balance, no matter what's going on around you. Does that make sense, Deb?
I love trust. I love trust, and it is such a big thing. And I with the trust, it also comes down to your sleep patterns. You know, we talk about that number from a 0 to 10. It also comes down to your sleep patterns. What's going on around? I haven't eaten properly, or, you know, last night I didn't have proper dinner, so I woke up cranky. Then you're not going to trust a lot of people around there. You're going to be on edge, or you're going to wake up and it's cold outside, or it's really hot and you've had a poor sleep and you've got a sore neck, you know, and somebody says something to you and you snap and you're like, oh God, I'm having one of those, you know, all those little things, all that mind chatter.
Yeah.
That trust is, I guess it actually goes to my next thing, because I'm looking at my notes here and I actually just wrote my next tip. I'm actually just going to jump into this because it's part of that trust, is it passes. Nothing is permanent.
Yeah,
So
that's
when you
excellent. It's so important because sometimes that's all you can hold on to. I can't see when it's going to go, but it will pass, right?
Yeah, so the balance, it passes. The chaos, it passes. And I think that they definitely just tag teams into the trust, because it's, nothing is permanent.
Yeah.
Nothing is permanent.
Nothing.
Your position here in this world is not permanent. You
Yep.
may think you've got a job and you've got a house and all that, but it's not permanent. You don't know what's around the corner. And what you have, you just do the best with what you've got. So knowing that balance or chaos passes, there's the other aspect of that is it worth it? Totally, it's worth it. Why would you what's the point? I've only got I've got to do this and this. Oh, there's no point because I'm going to be finishing this job soon. Totally, it's worth it because it's feeding your soul, to get it done. And you don't want to leave somebody in a job with 10,000 lists to be done or whatever it is. So yeah, everything passes and nothing is important, I want to say. Actually, is it worth it? It's actually an interesting one.
Yes.
That's probably another tip, actually.
That would be another tip.
That came out.
Yeah, I like that. The other one that came to my mind as you were describing that is to have appreciation for what you have, because sometimes chaos is being created because, oh my God, I have to work harder, I have to take this on, I have to finish that task, I have to talk to this group, I have to finish this course. But maybe I need to just put my attention on appreciating what I have, not the got tos. What do I get to do instead of what do I have to do? So just really appreciating and having gratitude for the tangibles, for the experience, for the gifts, right? For the glitter.
And I say appreciate what you have and what you don't have.
Right, absolutely.
Because appreciate, I guess that's appreciate the balance, appreciate the chaos, but and I guess if you can't do that, just remember yourself, it passes. Again, hand on heart, calms your farm, as my cousin would say. Those are little things, but appreciation and gratitude is very, very, very big. And I know people talk about joy, and I'm not actually going joy, because joy is an elation part. Appreciation and gratitude is neutrality. It's just fills your
just
heart.
Saying thank you.
Yeah, just fills your heart. And even if you don't feel it and you just say, wow, thank you, you can actually feel it that way if you're not sitting in that place. And I'm a big celebrator. Sprinkle my glitter, a celebrator. And so even when I have and I call them a glitch in my system, and I do something, or I trip up, or I get my clothes caught on my coat hanger like I did this morning, and door slammed shut at 4:30 this morning, and I was cursing and swearing because I was trying to run in here and get the heat pump on and all these blooming things, and I was cursing and swearing. But it does get you, and I'm like, okay, there's something to celebrate here, and that celebration is it gives you something to work on. Deborah, there's clearly something that's going on for you, that you got 1 issue, 2 issues, 3 issues, 4 issues in a 45 1 minute second, 45 seconds to 1 minute. There's clearly something going on. So I'm actually going to tag another tip to be celebrate. So appreciate and have gratitude, but also celebrate you've got something to work on.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to stay stagnant. No one wants to, we talk about get present, watch the grass grow. Okay, I can get present, watch the grass grow. It's not for me, but I'm definitely going to look at things that I'd like to evolve from. So celebrate, your glitches, because there's something to work on. You go, yay, I've got something I can work on, instead of going, oh no, not another thing. That's when you're sitting in a 10, which does happen. Don't get me wrong.
And it happens to all of us. It's about telling the truth here too, right?
Yeah, you can't get it wrong. You actually can't fudge this
stuff it up.
Yeah, I couldn't think of any other word. Thank you. But you can't get it wrong. So celebrate those whoopsies and go, oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, and I like that. See them. Can you use those are great words. I love those words. The glitches and the whoopsies.
Yeah.
Because as opposed to, oh, I suck, or I failed again, or I screwed it up. It's like, no, it's a whoopsie. It's a glitch. And you know what? This weaves beautifully back into the thing of it's not permanent. So you
And
just found out
trust.
that way didn't work. So, okay, I'm just another step closer to getting it right.
Yeah.
Or getting it on track, not right. As soon as I said that, that then sets us up for it has to be right or wrong, because
I
it's
know, but
not.
as you said, getting it right, I didn't take it that you're right or wrong. I didn't hear that. Just
Good.
I was
Good.
like, hang
that
on,
you went right
wait.
instead of left.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a firm believer on celebrating. And if you do have 4 or 5 glitches in that 1 minute thing,
That's
slow
okay.
down. Slow down,
That's a sign to slow down.
because the universe is telling you something. The universe is telling you something. And if you don't want to call it the universe, I don't care what you freaking call it, but you're being told,
It's
listen.
something.
So
It's
maybe
something.
that's the next tip, is listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying slow down, because I don't know if some people need to slow down in life. But also just listen, be present and listen.
So listen to the signs and the synchronicities, the things that come up within you, but also the conversations and ideas that are around you, right?
Yeah, I had to giggle. I was talking to somebody earlier at the weekend, actually, and she was saying, "Oh, I don't know what my niche is. I don't know what my niche is. I don't know what my niche is." And I'm like, "Well, who have you been talking to lately?" She's like, "Well, that means nothing." She's a coach. That means nothing. And I'm like, "Okay, so what have you been talking about? This, and this." And I said, "Okay, and what are the ages of those people? This age?" And I'm like, "Okay, and are they males or females?" "Well, they've all been females." And she's getting pippy with me, and I'm going, mm-hmm. And look, I mean, I giggle at the niche because I'm a firm believer there is no niche, because there's enough people out there. But, I understand that part. But this is clearly saying to you, there's something around you to actually listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got a lot of things that you're not listening to yourself, go, wow, okay, so I've got somebody who's turned up to me, and they've got, maybe their money situation isn't happy, and somebody's taking money off them or something. It's like, okay, so where does that reflect back to my life? Because I love that, you talked about the signs and synchronicities. Every person who comes your way is showing you something about yourself, whether you want to see it or not. I'm just going to add that part, whether you want to see it or not. This is part of the listen, because those signs and synchronicities are right in front of us, and it's just about being present. And if you don't like the word present, I don't know, but this is it. And so I said, okay, so these are the things. So that could be your niche, but tell me what's going on in your world that you're attracting these things. And she's like, I knew there was a hook in talking to you. she's an old client of mine. She's like, I knew there was something you're going to bring around. And this is exactly it. So these synchronicities of who we get as clients, who we talk to, randoms in the street, you might be having a funk day, and someone goes, wow, look at your smile or something, or that's a lovely dress. And you can't get cranky when someone goes, that's a lovely outfit, apart from you go into some shops and they're like, oh, you look beautiful. And you're like, oh, don't feed me your crap.
You're just saying that.
That's a lovely color on you. And you're like, righto, whatever. But you can't actually get cranky with that.
Yeah.
But these are definitely synchronicities and signs to get present and listen to what's going on around you.
Listen and actually receive it, because sometimes when we are missing it, and we can maybe get a bit cranky and maybe get a bit too hurried with something, but it's like, no, you in order to hear and listen to the signs and synchronicities and the reflections from other people around us, we do need to find our own rhythm, our own sense of balance. And it's different for every single one of us. I love having these conversations with you, Deb, but I also know that we cannot say, okay, listeners, here's your formula, 1, 2, 3, and you've got this, because it doesn't work that way.
No, and nice what worked for you this morning could be different to what's going to work this afternoon.
Precisely.
But, when we talked about the listen, I'm actually going to say, I'm going to put it as another tip, is be open to receiving. Because how often, because that is creating balance in your chaotic situations.
Mm-hmm.
That is be open to receiving. So people go, thank you for helping me. Or thank you, I didn't even think about that. And you're like, that old thing, I'm really easy at that. No, they generally, and I often say to people, wow, this is amazing. Or, wow, thank you for helping them. And they're like, oh. And you don't know, I don't compliment. I'm not a lip service kind of girl, if you haven't realized. I'm not going to compliment you or thank you on something that it isn't genuine. I'm
Yeah.
only going to thank you if you've helped me, or I can see the light, or whatever. I'm going to compliment you on that, or thank you, or I am going to say thank you for making me get present and to think.
Yep.
If I'm pissy with you.
No, you and I are so much alike on that one, because if I'm saying something, you're not going to make it up. No.
So be open to receiving that stuff, and if you say to others, oh, this old thing, or this, oh, it's really easy, I just do it in my sleep, don't take it away. They're very, you're like, when you're doing that, you're actually dismissing their genius of complimenting you.
Yep.
And you're squashing them down, because in reality, they're not going to lip service you.
No, it's actually a form of disrespect, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the word I keep thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking of all these other swear words. These colourful words that came in. But be open to receiving. I think that's a really vital one for us.
So, I love that you brought that tip, because I've made a note of a tip that now wants to sneak in here. And it's all
these are surprise, they're actually going.
They're actually feeding off each other. This tip here is about judgment, being mindful, being aware of judgment. Let's face it, judgment happens within us, around us.
I've never had judgment on anyone. Moira, this morning before we met, I never talked and moaned about anyone in my whole time.
Oh no.
My nose just grew Pinocchio so
like,
much that it hit the wall.
Just making that up.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So here's the thing. I'm reading this book right now. I'm really enjoying some of the places it's making my head go into, but it really helped me see judging from a different perspective. And what made it come in for me here with what you just said is being open to receiving. So what I read said that we all ought to be aware of judging, but really only when we judge. When we start going, oh, well, that wasn't right, or look at that person did this wrong, or they shouldn't have done that, or when we start to judge, because that right there is a time to slow down and come within and find out, what have I missed? What have I overlooked? What have I stuffed down? What do I need to give some loving kindness to? Whereas when we are judged, all we need to do is say thank you, because it's not really about us. All judgment is internal. So if we're being judged, it's like, okay, I just saw that you're not really in alignment with me, or I don't belong in your tribe, and that's okay. It's actually something that we could have gratitude towards.
I had the biggest grin on my face.
I know, she's laughing.
I had to mute myself because the snort started coming, because this morning I literally judged other people on when pre-recording. I was like, and this and this and this, and I fired. And so I'm listening to Moira going, oh, perhaps we should have started the podcast first and then
gone.
My cheeks are tight and grinny. When she talked about judgment, I went, oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I take that one on.
But isn't that a refreshing way? Because that's what we say, that this is an often quoted thing, that when you point the finger of judgment at somebody else, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you.
Yeah, but I used to always say to people, and there's also a thumb pointing at them, and there's also a thumb.
But the thumb is pointing up. You do this.
No, I would always go, yeah, but there's always a thumb. So it's not just 3. Yeah, I would always try and get something in to take it away from me. Like, you're wrong.
You're wrong, and
you're still wrong, and I'm still right.
I started to really feel into that, about when somebody judges me, can I just say thanks? Thanks.
Yeah.
And no more. I don't need to take it, because it's not for me.
Well, I think that goes into my next tip, and it's called watch your energy bubble. And when I say your energy bubble, people can build you up or deflate you pretty darn quickly. Like, you can be listening to this podcast and we can build you up, or we can deflate you. Like, when Moira started talking about judgment, I definitely went to deflation until I got to the hysterical part of I had to mute because I should snort.
Because she's chortling.
3 snorts came out my mouth and my nose. I was like, oh no, quick. Because you can take on you can jump into someone else's energy bubble, and before you know it, and I don't know if I can reference it like this because so someone goes, oh, my mum's not well. And people go, oh, that's sad. And it's like, yeah, she's been battling for 10 years. Probably should have said an alert warning here. She's been battling for 10 years and she's really on her last legs. And it is pretty horrific. But you don't have to go into, I'm so sorry. I'm so sad for you. I'm so this, and this. Like, you don't have to take on their sadness energy bubble. Because if you say to someone, oh, I'm so sad for you, they might go, yeah, but this is actually a really blessing because she's battled this for 10 years and we're all ready for her to go. I know that's pretty brutal to sort of, I'm trying to describe it as nice as I can on that, but you know what I mean.
I really do.
Maybe you do you know what I'm trying to say. And I'm thinking I don't want to upset anyone, but watch your energy bubble, because when other people are sad, you don't have to take on their sadness. Seen, heard, and acknowledged is a big thing. You just want to see them, hear them, acknowledge them. But yes, sometimes stories are sad and sometimes stories are horrific. But you don't have to take that on. Sometimes just holding energy and love space for that person, to me, is so much more fulfilling than telling them I'm sad for you and this is so sad and this is tragic and this is horrible and let me help you fight this case and all these things, instead of, holding that energy. Give them a hug. What would you like me to do? Or maybe not even what would you like me to do, but that do you know what I mean? I need to
I do. Now. I totally get what you're saying. And so I'm going to share from my own way of being, is that whenever I've gone through rough stuff in my life, whether it's an illness or an injury or
a quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Chaotic relationships or
Don't
issues.
talk about the time you fell down the stairs, because I do still laugh at that.
I'm not going to tell you about that time.
Okay, the time she fell down the stairs, and I do laugh each time.
She does. She does.
There's a trigger in my body that just laughs. I'm so going to fall down some stairs.
Or when I had a time where I had pneumonia too, at one point. So where I'm coming from with this is that I am very mindful of that energy. Like you're saying, oh, I feel so sorry for you, or I feel your pain. Well, you don't, because it's mine.
But
here's my own way of navigating life, and actually has been my signature all my life, is I am not going to tell anybody of a suffering or an issue or a problem that I am going through until I am through it. The reason being is I do not want to have put upon me somebody else's pity or sorrow or worry or anxiety or trying to solve my problems, because a lot of people try and do that too. Oh, all you have to do is this. Oh, I've had that injury before and this is what you have to do. I want all of my attention and energy focused on creating the balance. If I'm going through a chaotic situation, I need 100% of me on creating my balance. Then I can come out and say, oh, hey, I've had this chaotic situation experience, and this is how I got through it.
And you can pick and choose who you want to have on your train at that time.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you're going through that, you can then go, okay, I don't want to do it alone. I actually do want to talk to my partner, or I do want to bring them into this.
I'll tell my podcast partner here, Deb.
Yeah, which actually happened this morning. I'm doing all these things that we talked about. I literally just verbal diarrhea'd her this morning of a problem I had, but we both went, yeah, I know, I'm like, going to wait another week or so. But in saying that, I'm going to say, because I did verbally diarrhea something with you this morning and said, I've got at least another week to wait for it. And you were beautiful. When I go back and play that in my mind, you just held so much energy. You didn't give me advice. I think you probably laughed. I can't quite remember. Well, that'd be Deborah. But it was a beautiful, and it was that holding energy, and you didn't go, that's so sad for you, or that's horrific, or that's,
absolutely.
You actually, I think you said, didn't you go through that one other time? Clearly you didn't. You didn't say, clearly you didn't learn your lesson about the waiting game. You didn't say, but
that is not
a Deborah and Moira. Definitely, you don't need to tell me. I'm flipping no. But that was it. You just held that energy and space, and I love that you hold that yourself, because other people do worry. I mean, I had something a while, and people were just like, oh, thinking of you, and I hope you're okay, and all this, and I'm like, okay, just back off. I don't want you 10 times a day texting me.
Well, it's a pressure. I find it's a pressure, right? If I know, in fact, it's really funny. I had something going on physically a couple months ago, and my husband was getting really, really worried about me. And he kept saying, I'm really worried about you. And I said, you're putting more burden on me, because now I'm worried and thinking, oh my God, I'm causing my husband to worry about me.
Well, now I have to hide it. As the other thing what comes in. Now I've got to hide my emotions and pretend I'm perky.
Yeah.
But really, I just want to walk in the corner and sit in a 10.
It was a really good conversation for both of us, because he went away with that and then came back and said, it's because I care. And it's like, okay, I can deal with caring. I just don't want somebody being worried, because there's such a different energy about that, right? Just saying I care means you can hold space, right?
Yeah. And people put social media and they put on, oh, this is horrific, this is what's happened. And it's just a standard thing, sending you love and healing vibes, sending you as much love as you can handle right now with a heart. And that's literally what I do, because I am sending them healing vibes to get through it. Yep. You can get through this. I'm not going to tell them you can get through this. I'm not going to tell them it's going to be okay at the other end. I know it's going to. I know it's going to be okay, because the outcome is far greater than me and Moira having a conversation, but I don't know what's down the track. And okay, could be that person dies.
It could be.
I'm not going to tell them that. I'm just like, okay, sending you love and healing vibes. And that to me is the best one. I can just say, I'm here for you, but I'll give you a love energy bubble. Yep. That's all I can give right now.
Yep. Or listen. I think that listening and just, like you say, listening and being compassionate, and you can ask, what do you need? Is there anything I can do? But that's it.
I put a thing on my social media, I don't know, recently, and it was called Grief Groceries. I flippin' love this idea.
Grief groceries.
Yeah. And it's not actually grief groceries. So when somebody passed, this wasn't me, and it wasn't, and I saw it on someone's thing and I went, oh my God, that's a genius idea. So when somebody passes and you say, what can I do for you? And they text you for like every day for a week, and then suddenly they just disappear. They literally, which I know, which I've had experience, and then they just disappear and they go off or they check in and go, how are you today? I just don't want to talk to you. So what this person did was say to somebody, are you going to be at home at 8:00 tonight? Yes. Yes, I will be. And then 10 minutes later, they got a text saying, great, open the door at 8:00 tonight. And what happened? And then what they did was this person sent grief groceries, which was Oreo cookies, ice cream, chips, frozen meals, a few like emotional stuff that you don't. And so what it said about grief is you don't want to think.
Right.
So I guess when you're in that chaotic situation, you don't want to think. And so I love the idea that just meant, here, if you don't want to think, have some Oreo cookies. I'm not an Oreo cookie kind of girl, by the way. Or eat these potato chips, or eat this, drink this juice, or whatever. So you don't, what's going to be for dinner tonight? I can't even think. I've got to plan the funeral. I've got to do that. Right. And I love that idea.
That's beautiful.
I love that idea of actually just going, here, this is the thing. And I love that it actually just said this. And someone else put on that they said they knew their favorite restaurant, so they gave them a $250 voucher for that favorite restaurant.
Beautiful.
And the person who received the restaurant voucher thought, we're not going to do this save this for a rainy day. We're actually going to eat there every night for the next week, because we can't be bothered thinking.
Beautiful. That's perfect. I love that.
I know. And I love that idea of actually going, so what's your energy bubble? You don't have to take in something. And if you can afford $250 to give to somebody and you're giving them a gift, here's $250 onto your Uber Eats account, use it how you wish.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And I just thought, because when you're in that chaotic situation, and I guess that's it. I'm going to do another tip here. Watch out, here it comes. I guess when you're in that chaotic situation, you don't want to think.
No.
You actually can't think. We talk about doing appreciation gratitude, and sometimes you just can't. So my next tip is actually, Moira and I are here. Find the right tribe around you.
Yeah.
Who can support and challenge you enough, support you enough to lift you up, but also challenge you enough to not let you make these craziest decisions and go on a rant and rampage that's going to destroy everyone around. But have the right people. Now, Moira and I we pretty much do the same thing.
We do. We have different energies on it, but we do pretty much
different style. I will snort and laugh, sprinkle some glitter. Moira will listen. Moira will interrupt you. She'll listen
and surround you in purple.
Yeah, that's it. And I'll surround you in gold glitter. That's it. But get the right people around you, and the right people today may not be the right people tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because
have your peeps that you can call on to suit your energy. Yeah, definitely.
That and just because, so say for example, I don't even want to say someone's died again because there's another scenario. So say you've lost your job. You don't have to turn to somebody who else has lost their job. But sometimes they can bring in a scenario that's different, but you don't have to go to somebody who has the same situation, because their situation back at their time is very different. So I'm not going to resonate with I can talk to people about single mums because I am a single mum. She's 22 now. Can I still say I'm a single mum? Well, I do have a partner now, but it only happened recently. But I don't relate a lot to single mums now because my era is very different from way back when Sophie was born in 2000. But it's different. So what I'm trying to say is find the right people who resonate with you, who don't resonate with you, but know that just because they're the right people today, they may not be the right people tomorrow. Look, I'm a firm believer on Moira and I. I'm a firm believer because I know with certainty, if I'm in a pickle, I go to Moira. She changes her. She just knows me. She works me, and I come out the other side. Yeah, and it's not painful.
Yeah. It's about, and that is, this tip is actually leading us right back full circle to tip number 1, which I said was trust, right? Because it is to trust that you'll vibe with the people that are right with your energy at that point. And so it's not about getting in your head and saying, oh gosh, I have to have this huge Rolodex of all these different people to suit different energies. It's like, no, just trust when I need that person or that type of energy, it'll be there. And it'll feel right. It'll feel like
life doesn't. I was just going to say, life doesn't have to be hard, but we can overcomplicate.
That's basically what happens. Because life is a lot of the stuff that we talk about, and a lot of the guidance that you and I offer is actually simple. The key piece is to stop overthinking. That's the propensity of us humans, is to overthink and get, oh gosh, it has to be so complicated.
I know.
Yes. And creates chaotic situations.
And you get on that hamster wheel and you can't flip and get off.
That's it.
You go down and down and down. Yeah.
So coming back. So now we're going to start wrapping up our conversation. So I trust that people trust that you start to, listeners, I trust that you start to see and feel into the rhythm and the ease of coming to creating that balance. But if you didn't have a notepad or note-taking device, perhaps you want to grab that now, because we are going to recap all of the points that we shared a little bit faster than what we just did.
I love the way she goes, perhaps you'd like to grab your, and I'm like, get it. In my head, I'm like, get it now, hurry up. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, get it now,
See,
hurry
there's
up.
the difference between us.
And I just giggled and went, yeah, there we go. There we go. Get it now. Hurry up.
Hurry up. That's Debz. So Debz, why don't you kick us off with tip number 1?
Wow. She just talked about it.
I
If
did.
you didn't get that, it
I did.
starts with the T, and it's called trust.
Trust.
And I know there's 2 aspects I really love about the trust part. Is Moira said it at the start. Balance is an inside job.
Yeah.
And I love that. Balance is an inside job.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite go-to that shuts the whole chaos down is hand on heart.
Yep. 100%.
And sometimes I'm putting my hand on my heart and I'm pushing my hand so far through that I swear it's going to pop out the other side of the back. But I'm still I'm putting it there and just reminding myself that's where I live. It takes me out of my head, hand on heart. And sometimes when I'm driving and somebody does something, hand on heart.
Yep.
I'm on the phone to someone and I can feel them, hand on heart. It literally is, just takes that. If you're sitting at a number 10, it takes you to a 9, or it takes you to an 8, or it takes you to wherever, but it definitely that. So trust is so important, but there's my 2 little tips from the trust.
I love that. I love that. And you know what? Just as a little quick sidebar to that trust with the hand on the heart, I had a conversation with a client last week, and she says, "Oh, but Moira, it's going to mean that I have to have my hand on my heart all the freaking time." And I said, so be it.
I was just going to say, and
so be it. Tip number 2, and actually this leads on from that, so be it, that if you have to put your hand on your heart all the time, it passes. Tip number 2 was to recognize that everything passes. There's a reason, a season, and it does pass. Nothing is permanent. Nothing that we experience or go through or witness is permanent. So that's a really important tip to help ease back from, if you're witnessing a chaotic experience or a situation, it's not going to stay that way.
Yeah, I think there's just a simple one that can still cause chaos in us, though. But yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, it passes.
It passes. That's right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The next one I had is it worth it? And this could be a why me? Why? This could be definitely a hamster wheel moment that you could go round and round and round and round. But is it worth it? Like, the truth is, there's not much worth it out there.
That's right.
Because it passes and you've got trust.
Exactly. So there's creating balance right there.
Yeah. Move on as quick as you can. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it works for you. Yeah.
Definitely. The next one I have is to appreciate what you have and what you don't have, and celebrate. Right? Celebrate the wins and the things that you're grateful for and you appreciate. I always like thinking appreciation is one of my favorite words. I always like to think that what I appreciate appreciates. It gets bigger and bigger.
I heard
and bigger.
that recently. It must have been probably through you. I was like, oh, that's a good one.
It is. I think we did an episode on that.
My business in 17 years has been around gratitude.
Yeah.
Only in the last 6 months have I heard what you appreciates. Clearly didn't need to hear it back then.
But it's all there now.
Yeah. And with that, celebrate. She said celebrate, and I call it whoopsies or glitches, celebrate those whoopsies
celebrate
or glitches.
them too. I love that, because I think that's such an important way to frame them. Yeah,
because that's all they are. And it just allows you to move on. Yeah. The next one I have down is listen. Deborah's favorite thing. Please listen and listen to the signs and synchronicities, because they are weaving in and out of your world every day, every moment of every day. So listen to them.
Yeah.
Listen, see them, open your senses and you will see them. And even when you're in a chaotic situation, you will see them. You may not acknowledge them back then. You definitely will see them, but you may not acknowledge them.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, we talked about the signs and synchronicities could be in seeing other people around you. So the acknowledgement that what we see in another is a reflection of what's going on in us.
Yes,
so that's totally a sign and synchronicity too. The next one that we went into was to be open to receiving. Because sometimes when we don't flow with the signs and synchronicities, we're actually closing the door to that guidance or that flow, or whether it's coming from our own intuitive nature or from the universe too. right? The universe is flowing through you. So being open to receiving is a really important piece to the idea of creating balance, right?
Okay, the next one, I'm going to have to say it. Judgment. Like you see in others as a reflection of you. Judgment. Watch that judgment, because the more judgmental you are, the more you're out of universal laws, the more you're out of alignment for your soul, and you're actually sitting in a chaotic situation. Even if you think you aren't, you're not better than anyone else. We've all just got our own problems. We've all got our own whoopsies and glitches, and so we just learn how to handle them differently. So I can literally, I'm just talking to myself right now. So take a good look at the judgment and own where you've got this stuff. Just own it and then move on. And it just allows you to, it passes. It passes when you do the work.
But also the piece that we covered there is that if you're being judged by another, just celebrate it. Say thanks. Move on. Don't get embroiled, because it's not
when
about
other
you,
people,
right?
Yeah.
So the judgment that we want to release is our judgment of others and situations, and because that's the funky energy. But if other people are doing it, well, they got to do their own, release the inner judge stuff. And so you can just say thanks. I just feel like that gives us freedom when we do that. I like it.
Yeah.
Excellent. The next one I have here is to watch your energy bubble. Always being aware. I like doing that thing of remember, you're the boss of you. You're the boss of your own energy bubble. And so if you don't want people, giving you how to fix this, or I'm so sorry for that, or I'm so sorry for your suffering, this is how I live my life. I don't want that energy in my bubble. And so I'm very selective of who I share certain things with. And so that's where when we want to create balance, we just need to be very mindful and aware of who's going to be in my energy bubble. Yes.
I'm just thinking of the energy bubble. You're right. They're very good tips. They're very, very good tips.
I like these tips.
Yeah. I've actually got another one I'm going to add to the end of this, by the way. Surprise.
Okay, good.
So the next one I've got is the right tribe. And when I say the right tribe, the right people around you, the people who can lift you up and take you down. And when I say take you down, it just means if you're flying too high and you've got unrealistic expectations, and they're semi-unrealistic. I'm not talking about other people saying you're never going to amount to anything. You can't do this. I'm not talking about that.
No.
I'm talking about people who go, come on, if you want to land on the moon, you got to do it. It's going to take longer than a month. Let's get real. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about those others who go, no, you'll never be able to do that. I'm talking about the ones who go, that's not absurd. Put realistic timeframes in place and action steps, and get the right people around you to land on the moon. Especially if you know nothing about engineering or anything. So get the right people around you. And this is where I talk about Moira and I, because we do have an incredibly skillful talent in helping people find that balance in the chaotic situation. That's our job. I mean, we've both been doing it.
Yeah.
But we actually one who walks our talk.
Yeah, most definitely.
We say we help you, but we also do it ourselves, because we've fallen and lifted ourselves up. And all these tips we've given you are just literally things that sit back in our world daily.
Yep, absolutely.
Daily. So find the right tribes around you. And I am going to add another little bit. And the last one I'm actually going to add is do the work.
Okay, I like that. Yes.
Do the work. Stop pussyfooting around. There's a Debz talk.
There's a Debzism.
That's a good one to have or not. But do the work. Don't listen to this podcast. That's great. And you've written those tips down, but actually pick up your flipping pen and nut them out and live this stuff. Walk your talk. Walk what live it in your world. Hand on heart. If you can only do one tip today, hand on heart, or whatever one it is, hand on heart, and just practice that until you've implemented it, and then go, well, actually, I can take on the next one now. Just do the work. Don't sit stagnant.
I love that, because I would add a wee bit to that, is that when we do the work, like you said, Deb, we walk our talk. But We walk our talk because we are in integrity and being authentic with what we teach and coach and guide people to do. But you see, when we do our own work, our inner work, it's telling ourselves that we are worthy of our own time and attention. And that is the best way to create balance in any kind of chaotic situation that may come up. That you, every one of you listeners are worthy of your own compassionate kindness. And that's what all of these, that's kind of the common thread of all the tips that we've shared in our conversation today. So this has been a great, awesome conversation, actually. And I knew it was going to be.
Yeah, I giggled when Moira said, guess what our topic is today?
Yes, I know.
I was like, what? And you told me, I'm like, okay, crack on.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
So, dear listeners, wrapping up this conversation, we trust that you got the value you needed and you got some insight into how to create balance in your exact right way. But we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear, how does this resonate? How does this land? We'd also really encourage you to, I would actually like to suggest that you take 2 or 3 of these tips. And like Deb says, practice them. Make them a daily rhythmic practice for yourself. And then let us know how they go. And that's step number 1. I've got 3 steps for you. Step number 2 is to share with us, are there any tips that you feel like we've missed? Or a favorite tip that you have to create balance? And then step number 3 for your next step is to share this episode, this wisdom. Let's get a conversation going about creating balance, remembering it's an inside job, but we can actually allow others to step into it by sharing this wisdom and inviting the conversation to continue. Yeah.
Wow.
So the other piece, so there, I've given you 3 pieces of homework, and now we're going to circle right back to our check-in. At the very beginning of our episode, we checked in on our PEMS scale, our physical, emotional, mental, spiritual well-being, on our scale of 0 to 10. I was at a 1.5 and Deb was at a 2. And we'd love to hear where you were and where you are now. Where are you now, Deb?
I would have said a 0, but the more Moira talked at the very end, I went to a 0.5 because that word judgment. And out of all the things that I've written down, I've written one word and then I've written notes beside each one. Judgment just has judgment. And when you were talking, I'm like, I know. I've got a 3-hour drive from here today, and I'm like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do, and I said to people, do the work. Do the work, Deborah. I'm going to do the work around the judgment of what I said this morning. So I've gone to a 0.5. I was like, oh my God, I'm so a 0. I can feel it. And then she started talking more, and I was like, no, you're not.
Dang that, Moira.
So I am going to walk my talk. I'm going to do the work and around the judgment from what we had a conversation with. So thank you for that. I'm pleased we did this podcast.
Me too. Awesome. And I am actually at
What are you?
I am at a 0. Of course I am.
Are you sure?
100%.
Okay.
Beautiful conversation. We will be signing off now, and we'll be back with you again next week. Thank you so much, Deb. This has been a blast.
Yeah, it's been a lovely one. Thank you, listeners, and thank you, Moira, and thank you for the internet.
Definitely. Thank you, internet. It behaved itself.
Earlier where we shut the computers down, we rebooted, we're like, we're going to bring in a chaotic situation here. No, we're not.
And we didn't. We created balance. We created balance. Yes.
We went, if we just do this, it's going to work. Yeah.
Yep, and it did. Thank you. Bye, listeners. Bye, Deb.
Bye.